All right, Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly sidereal forecast for July 20th through the 26th. My name is Athen. So, like I've been saying to the other signs, it's a pretty straightforward week in terms of the astrology. We have the Sun and Mercury going conjunct, emphasizing that 7th house, but going into the 8th house this week. So shift there from the relationship stuff into the deeper side of perhaps relationships and taking it to another level. And when I say that, it's not just in the romantic sense. It's just with all your relationships, wanting to have more of those deeper connections and having more of that openness of sharing of truth, of self, and things like that. So that'll be the shift there. And then we've got Mars squaring up to Uranus over the weekend, which I'll cover. So the early part of the week, the Sun and Mercury are trining up to Saturn from that 7th house. So a nice few days there to, I think, to continue to enjoy the relationships, one-on-one connections, things like that. With those two planets being well aspected, I think there's a lot of passion there in regards to those 7th house matters. That's relationships, contracts, business dealings, legal matters, things of that nature. Then the Sun and Mercury go conjunct, and when they do, while they're still supported by Saturn, which is a good disciplined mind, a good disciplined self-expression, going into the deeper side of life. And this is where the emphasis is going to be for you for about the next 30 days. But then again, when Mars goes in there, so it's a key high point for you, which you guys have been quite expansive about. There should have been some nice opportunities for the past year for you to transform, to have those deeper connections, etc., which is Jupiter transiting the 8th. And so now it becomes very practical with Mercury there, and then the Sun, of course, to bring that into the day-to-day environment. So looking at it in terms of your rulers, Mercury does rule your 7th and 10th house, so I think there will be a deepening of relationships, perhaps a deepening of your career and public life as well, to help you connect to those areas on a more meaningful level. And then the Sun does rule your 9th, so this is about philosophy and wisdom. So anytime the Sun goes into your 8th, it's a time of understanding more about the deeper elements of the philosophy, where it comes from, and what life is about, and things like that. And so that shift there is certainly going to be emphasized, and again, supported by Saturn, really, keeping things nice and grounded and disciplined with those matters. So that's the early part of the week up until Thursday. And then over the weekend, Mars will be squaring up to Uranus, which is this element of home and family, of past and roots, which is Uranus in your 4th house. So there's been a lot of change here, perhaps more freedom, hopefully, over the past many years with Uranus here. So the key here is with this kind of aspect, it can sometimes feel like a restless kind of an energy, especially with Mars in Gemini. And this is involving relationships and one-on-one connections. So the key here is to be willing to have more freedom. That's what's being called of you, more emotional freedom perhaps, or freedom relating to home and family matters. So whatever that is over the weekend, being open to that, seeing that and working constructively at it is the best way to utilize this square energy, because this is always positive. There's always unfoldment of things that are in relation to our life path. And speaking of life path, there is a lot to be learned over this weekend with the Sun and Mercury sextiling up to the North Node here in your 10th house, because this whole year of life path stuff is relating to a career and work, and that's where the flow is for you. So things relating to that legacy, big picture stuff, certainly supported over the weekend, and understanding more, seeing that in general, maybe just reflecting on that will be quite helpful. Then on the weekend as well, Venus and Uranus will be going retrograde at roughly the same time. So it's a time of reflecting on that freedom, how you can have more enjoyment in your life on that emotional home, family, past roots level. And then also with your values, reflecting on now for the next few months, your philosophy, reflecting on things like astrology, on, travel, stuff like that, reflecting on groups, relationships, networking, your routine, perhaps redoing your routine, your health, stuff like that. But that's going into next week. The emphasis this early part of the week is certainly on those 7th house matters, connections, where a lot of that assertive energy is. We do have a grand trine there going into the following week as well, so all this stuff is quite healing also, but very supportive with Saturn and expressive, quite passionate, perhaps romantic, or maybe it has been. And then so it's getting deeper here with just all relationships, wanting to share on that deeper level and seeing the truth of self, etc. While Mars does square Uranus, emphasizing the importance of being willing to change and have more freedom with your one-on-one connections in general. Because you guys have been changing. You've had Pluto in your 1st house, so there's been a lot of this energy. You guys are going through lots of this transformation. So naturally the relationships change as well. So being open to that and maybe taking some actions in regards to that will be a good way to work with it. So Sagittarius, have a nice week. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.